our first program, we introduced you to MRA and our 3 urban renewal districts. We showed you some of our projects and programs and how MRA has used its resources to work with our public and private partners to revitalize Missoula. Often, that revitalization has meant improving public infrastructure like streets and sidewalks, building parks and trails, or planting over 1,000 street trees. Other efforts have involved rehabilitating historic buildings or simply extending the useful life of others. In our first program, the Bank Street parking deck and pedestrian mall was under construction. Working in conjunction with the Missoula Parking Commission, we completed this beautiful new public space, and in May of 2002, we dedicated the parking deck and the pedestrian mall to public use. My name is Geoff Badenoch. I'm the director of the city's Redevelopment Agency, and we're here today to open the Bank Street parking structure and to dedicate the Bank Street Pocket Park. This is the biggest private-public partnership the Redevelopment Agency has been involved with downtown. It resulted in the Millennium building, this beautiful new parking structure, and this park. I'm standing on the spot where the community of Missoula began. In the 1800s, Missoula pioneers constructed Missoula Mills, a grist mill and lumber mill powered by water diverted from Rattlesnake Creek. That mill began the development of trade and the subsequent creation of the Missoula community. In designing this park, we consider both the history of the downtown and its relationship to the downtown. Come with me and let's explore this new addition to Missoula's public spaces. When we were designing this park with our designers from Oz Architects, we knew we wanted to acknowledge the river as a defining feature in Missoula's past, and so we included this water feature. The 8-foot granite disc is the source for water, which appears as if from a spring and flows across a compass rose that has the coordinates of latitude and longitude of Missoula in raised letters. Suspended above the compass rose is a bronze representation of the Clark Fork River as it flows through our community. The water flows off the disc and cascades onto a bed of local river cobbles. Before people came here, animals lived in and around the Missoula Valley for eons. Throughout the park, we've inscribed the footprints of several wildlife species that are native to western Montana. There are even a few footprints of domestic animals. In selecting plant materials, our landscape architect, Jenny Minershagen, drew heavily from native species to give the park a familiar look. At the same time, we also have flowering plants that will add to the delight of the coming of spring we all look forward to. This is a time capsule that is to be opened in the year 2052. It contains messages from local children and other citizens to the Missoulians of 50 years from now. During early days of construction of the park, we came across this granite block. It formed part of the foundation of the first National Bank of Montana, which stood on this site in the late 1800s to the early 1960s. We were happy to be able to retrieve it, include it in the park as a way to touch our community's history. Most of the benches in the park are south-facing so that we can extend the useful seasons of enjoyment. On a sunny day in the spring and fall, this will be a great place to meet someone for a brown bag lunch. One of the casualties of this project was the old Montana Power transformer building, which was demolished to make way for the new construction. On the side of the building was a giant mural called Hellgate Kites, which was a creation of two local artists, Steve Lawrence and Kirk Johnson. Hellgate Kites was one of the first pieces of public art in Missoula, and the design is recreated here and will be familiar to all who enjoyed the kite building for the 15 years the mural was there. During construction of the park, we were all horrified and saddened by the terrorist attacks of September 11th. First Interstate Bank contributed this flagpole and flag to the park as a statement of the community's solidarity with the victims, their families, and the many heroes of that terrible day.
There's a reason why we have a parking program in downtown Missoula, and why, in fact, most of the state, other cities in the state look to Missoula for help in understanding how to manage parking. One of the great professionals that we have working on that in our community is Ann Guest, the Director of Parking Services for the Missoula Parking Commission. Ann?
Thank you. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Board of Directors and my staff of the Parking Commission, I'd like to thank you all for being here to help us celebrate this special occasion. As you all know, parking plays a critical role in the success of any downtown. And part of that role is having ample parking inventory and a good parking program. And the Parking Commission is really proud to be able to present you these elements in this one beautiful facility. So I encourage you to tell your friends to come on down and park in the Bank Street parking structure and enjoy what Missoula's downtown has to offer you throughout the year. Thank you.
The parking deck is a 151-space structure that combines both lease and short-term parking. First Interstate Bank, which donated the land upon which the project was built, has provided some free spaces for the public's convenience. For those who pay for parking, there is the big yellow Mighty machine, an electronic parking attendant that allows people to park and pay only for the time they use.
Select the button which meets or exceeds the amount of time that you will be staying. Please stand by. Receipt is printed. Thank you. Collect your receipt from the tray below.
This park was created on the spot of what was once Bank Street, a short street, little more than an alley really, and it is now a place for people to meet and to gather with friends and acquaintances. We created it with the idea that public spaces can be both useful and beautiful. We hope Missoulians will continue to claim this space as their own and enjoy it for decades to come.
This project at the corner of Higgins and South 3rd West was recently dedicated as the Evelyn Borg Johnson Park. It's really three related projects combined. A stairway to the riverfront, new sidewalks along South 3rd West, and the park itself. The stairway portion of the project builds on the popularity of the two stairways on the north shore of the river. Enables people to quickly access the river parks and trail system from Higgins and 3rd. It's built of steel with wood insets to soften its appearance. It enables people to decrease the amount of time they have to spend walking through the parking lots of Boone and Crockett. The area at the top is landscaped. With the angle parking on South 30th Street West, the previous 5-foot wide sidewalks were too narrow for wheelchairs or even for two people to walk side by side. In this project, we replaced them with wider sidewalks next to the street and then narrow ones next to landscape beds to separate the cars from the people. 2 handicapped parking spaces are now available, the only such spaces in a very wide area in this heavily used business district. The park area of the project was originally on land owned by the Milwaukee Railroad. It was given to the city in 1981 by the purchasers of the Milwaukee Station area. Initial plans to create a landscaped area and trail connecting 3rd Street and Station Drive were never realized. The city didn't get to that portion of the project for some time, so the adjacent neighborhood installed a workable trail and plant material. The neighborhood was unable to maintain what they'd constructed, and actually construction of a new building next door to the park destroyed many of the plants that they'd planted. Lack of water on the site complicated trying to maintain the plantings that the neighborhood put in. Among those who worked the hardest to make the area beautiful was Evelyn Johnson, a longtime neighborhood resident. Frustrated neighbors approached the MRA to help. Design planning for the park occurred in the spring and early winter of 2001. There were a wide variety of opinions as what the park area should be and how it should function. The final design attempted to recognize that variety. As built, it offers one of the only opportunities for enhanced accessibility to the riverfront trails for those with small children and those with difficulties walking. The meandering switchback trail reduces the steepness of the area until it connects with the lower, more gently sloped portion of Station Drive. The landscaped area along 3rd Street has 2 major regimes, an upper and a lower. The upper regime is a series of flowering shrubs and perennials, all native to western Montana. It provides an edge to the 3rd Street urban area and the less urban area toward the riverfront. The lower portion, north of the trail, is a grassy meadow-type regime, which will have some flowering plants, but mainly will be grasses and sedges that will gradually open up and become green throughout the year. Along with the project, the retaining wall that had held up the park from Station Drive for many, many years, that was constructed of rocks, had to be replaced. What we tried to do was to match the surrounding areas using colored concrete for a more permanent solution to the wall.
My name is Geoff Badenoch. I'm the director of the Redevelopment Agency, and we're here today to dedicate the Evelyn Borg Johnson Park. Evelyn always wanted this area to be a place of color and beauty, and somebody brought some color to add to her beauty for us today to enjoy. It's open. Come take a look. My job today is just to thank a lot of people. First of all, I'd like to go back a few years and let's thank the people that tried to keep this area as beautiful as it was for as long as they possibly could. And I'm going to single out Earl Salmonson, wherever Earl is right now. I'd like to also thank those that kept the issue of fixing up this park and making it a beautiful place, even more beautiful than it was, and a place that was functional for the rest of the community, for MRA and the City Council and the neighborhood groups and so on. And I'll single out again one person among the many in Jim Marr. I'd also like to thank those who participated in all the planning meetings that we had through the winter and spring of 2001, especially those who really kept to their beliefs and found a way to accept others' needs. And then I'll again single out someone, and that someone is Susie Risho, who mediated and listened and kept us all on task for several months. I'd like to thank James Poole, who's able to be here with us tonight, who was the landscape architect who took all the ideas
and the requirements that MRA had for this, none of which were easy to try to figure out how to put those all in a pot and come out with a product. The prime contractor for this job is AAA Construction. Brady Nelson's here from AAA. Did a great job under some difficult circumstances. Some of the prime subcontractors that he had that did an amazing job here were Rick Rhodes, who did all the steel work on this area, and of course the new stairs down to the river, and Nature's Enhancement did all this landscaping planning. I'd like to thank the Missoula Parks and Recreation Board staff, especially their new director, Donna Gockler. I'd like to thank the MRA Board for believing in the park and the importance of small places like this. And all the neighbors and businesses around here had to put up with months of dust and parking problems and traffic problems, and I'm sure it seemed endless. Watch for an upcoming project bringing a trail from the Evelyn Borg Johnson Park along the road, across the irrigation ditch, and along the irrigation ditch, cleaning up this area, connecting formally up with the riverfront trail system behind me. A little over a year ago, Nutritional Laboratories International purchased the then vacant Heiligmeier Furniture Building located at 1001 South 3rd Street West. The property is in MRA's Urban Renewal District Number 2. NLI has renovated the 60,000 square foot building to accommodate its dietary supplement, over-the-counter, and pharmaceutical drug manufacturing business. The new location allows the company to accommodate its rapid growth and expand into new product markets by more than doubling its production capability. This partnership between MRA, NLI, and other local financing partners has resulted in a new, non-polluting industry for Missoula. It substantially increases the tax base in that area of town and will immediately hire 20 new, well-paid employees, with the hopes of employing another 40 Missoulians over the next 5 years.
Three years ago, the area behind me was occupied by the 50-year-old Broadway building, the original building of St. Patrick Hospital. Today, this area is occupied by a brand new, state-of-the-art medical services building housing Western Montana Clinic and services supporting the St. Patrick Hospital. MRA's role in this exciting project was to provide funding for the demolition of the old Broadway building. MRA also provided funding for the relocation of utilities that serve the building, as well as public improvements like curbs, gutters, sidewalks, and landscaping. MRA's partnership with St. Patrick Hospital and Health Sciences Center resulted not only in this beautiful new building, but improved medical services for all of western Montana. In addition, it stabilized the local employment and has added substantially to the local tax base.
I'm Chris Behan, project manager with MRA. I'd like to talk a little bit about one of the less visible but still very important things that MRA does in the downtown area. A number of years ago, MRA evaluated alleys north of the river in the downtown. We found that most were in very poor condition, some almost impassable. Of those that were the worst, like this one, were less than 5 years old. Of the best were the concrete alleys, which were up to 50 years old. The primary reason that the asphalt alleys were in such bad condition is that it's nearly impossible to achieve proper drainage in such a confined space. So water builds up and deterioration of the surface happens very quickly. We also noticed that many of the alleys are being used by pedestrians to access various businesses more quickly. The solution that MRA found was to approach the property owners of the worst alleys. The partnership was, if reconstruction is done in concrete, MRA will pay one half. The other half is paid by the property owner by way of a long-term SID. The program has become a very big success, including those alleys just being finished in the downtown. 7 of the most deteriorated alleys have been reconstructed. The projects also give utility companies the opportunity to replace aging gas, electric, water, and storm sewer lines. The result is downtown's most heavily used alleys are ready for a variety of uses for decades to come. The area known as the Fox site includes land given to the city in the 1920s, the former Fox Theater site, given to the city in 1984, and the former Holiday Store and Mustard Seed restaurant sites, purchased by the city a few years ago. The city has designated MRA as its agent in redevelopment of the Fox site. Recently, St. Patrick Hospital and Health Sciences Center became the owner of most of the land previously owned by the Western Montana Clinic in the downtown. At this time, the hospital and the city own virtually all the land in a triangle whose edges are West Broadway, Orange Street, and the Clark Fork River. Both the city and St. Patrick Hospital wish to see an appropriate, comprehensive redevelopment of this large section of downtown Missoula. Aside from its size and location on 2 primary business arterial streets, the site is very important and must be developed with a great sense of care and sensitivity because it represents the last major developable piece of property near the downtown riverfront. In January, the hospital and MRA co-hosted a day-long design charrette to begin the process of master planning the area. The session was attended by 60 people with a wide variety of backgrounds and interests. Work for the day was structured in such a way as to arrive at a guide to subsequent planning and marketing of the area. And in that, it was a resounding success. The final work by the participants set the groundwork and guiding principles to planning occurring during the summer of 2002 and marketing the site to occur in the autumn and winter months. The report detailing the results from the charrette may be found on MRA's website.
As you have seen in this program, redevelopment takes on many facets. It can be the creation or improvement of public spaces. It can be the creation of new buildings. It can also be the rehabilitation of old buildings to extend their useful life in our community. The Missoula Redevelopment Agency is, after all, an agency that's committed to change and improvement in our community. I hope you've enjoyed our program and that you've enjoyed looking at some of the projects that we've been working on. Behind me is Karis Park. This is a project that MRA planned and designed and built nearly 20 years ago. At the time, we relied on the community citizens to give us their input, their ideas, their dreams for what this place could be. What you see is the manifestation of those ideas. Now we need your ideas again. In the summer of 2005, MRA will stop operating in the Downtown Urban Renewal District. Between now and then, we hope to undertake as many projects as we can. To do so, we need input from businesses, property owners, and citizens who have ideas of things that should be done in our downtown. If you would like to contact us with your ideas or questions about projects that we can undertake, please contact us using either the phone number or the website at the bottom of your screen. We need your input. We need your ideas. We hope to hear from you soon.